Welcome to another edition of Wine Guide TV. My name is Ben Edwards, this is Dan Sims, and today we're going to talk about Pinot Noir. Why?
Because we're Pinophiles.
Yes, well, we've said that before.
You've got to concentrate on saying that, don't you? You really don't want to muck that up. But look, today we're pretty excited because we're going to talk about Tasmanian Pinot, but we have a little project called PinotUnearthed.com, which we're particularly passionate about. It is a website that is all about Pinot Noir from across the globe.
That's right. And to this point in time, it's been about New Zealand and Australia and Tasmania. I know that's sometimes people...
Part of Australia.
It's part of Australia, yes. Got to be careful with that, our friends in Tasmania. But also it's really just about celebrating the diversity of Pinot Noir. And unfortunately, in Australia, when we think about Tasmania, it's considered a single geographic indication, a single GI. What does that mean, Dan?
Well, it means that the whole state is one particular area, but from our tastings, which we do, and the whole idea about Pinot Unearthed is actually to go to the area, taste in that, and try and discover some sub-regional elements within that particular GI. And being Tasmania being such a large single area, what we found with our tasting when we go down there and we tasted all these wines, all masked, all under show judging conditions, was there's a big difference between those, like particularly from the north or even on the east coast to the south. Yep. There's a lot to learn about the Venice map of Tassie. I have to say, it's a bad joke. It
is a bad joke. Another mention has to be made. Chris Crawford is our third gun in terms of Pinot-ness. He can't be with us today, and he's busy actually working and earning a living. So we get to stand here and talk about the wines that we've discovered and tell you why. Another thing too, we film these videos in some pretty cool places, and none cooler than where we are today actually. This is upstairs at Alona Stoller in their new bar, and I like it here.
It is a good spot. The sister restaurant to the very famous or infamous Cicciolina. It has to be famous.
No, it's both.
The Melbourne icon.
Okay,
now, moving on. We're going to go through 5 of these wines today, and look, we're going to start off with. Well, this is the first wine, apart from having a fantastic label. Nick Glaetzer makes this wine. Glaetzer Dixon. This fruity sauce from mainly sort of parts of the town, but also mainly across Tasmania. So I call this like as a Tasmania kind of GI, but those,
Well, it's a combination of the south and the north, if you like, Tamar, and from around the Coal River Valley. What you get though with this is Nick Glaetzer, the winemaker, famous Barossa name actually, but he is all about making really bright, pure, perfumed wines, and this wine has it in spades. In fact, this is his early young release wine, yet it has everything you need. It's got little lovely texture, but heaps of red fruits, and that's why we're starting with this, because stylistically we're going to move through wines that get put on weight as we go along. And
there's something about this, like a real crunchy acidity sort of character to it, which is this lovely freshness coming through, which makes
What's it called, Dan? Avance.
It's refreshing. It's one of those Pinots that you can drink and you don't even realise it, but you've just drunk a whole glass.
That happens to you a lot.
It does happen to me a lot.
Well, it's a 2009 vintage. All of these wines are 2009 vintage. They are from our reports. You can find that report at PinotUnearthed.com, and I think it was issue number 4. We'll move along. This next wine is from Bay of Fires, a big company wine, if you like, and the fruit for this literally gets sourced from all over Tasmania. So we do have a bit of East Coast, Tamar Valley, down south, Coal River, and even further down south in the Huronin Channel. So this wine is kind of like the quintessential Tassie experience.
It's got some, this is done particularly well in a lot of wine shows across the country, and it's got that really lovely depth of character and weight. Got a bit of that barrel fermenty funk to it showing at the moment. Also got that.
I like to call them bacon bones.
Bacon bony sort of a character, but it's also got just that kind of likely aromatic lift.
Mint.
I wasn't going to say mint, but
there's a little bit of mint.
It does.
But
There's a little bit of mint
an
in
aspect.
It is, but what I like about it, and I'm normally a mint Nazi, is that it straddles the line between it being a character, a positive character in the wine, rather than dominating the character.
Now we're being a little remiss here. The first wine we gave 95 points to, or 18.5 in our report. The next wine gets 91 points, a Bay of Fires, or 18.25. I reckon we might have downgraded that just a little bit because of the way that it's evolving. It still looks lovely, but maybe that mintiness is just taking the edge off. The next one we're going to look at is Tamar Ridge Cayena Vineyard. Now this is 100% from the Tamar Valley. Tamar Ridge was owned by Guns, but is now owned by Brown Brothers, which is fabulous. They're doing a good job. They're really excited about it, and it's actually a part of the stable of the next one as well, the Coombe Bend, which we'll talk about. Tamar tends to have a lot of that really lifted, spicy fruit. and you know, kind of crunchy acidity. And a lot of sparkling base comes from this area in the Pybus River and around the Tamar. But what we're seeing here in this particular one is just really lovely, fresh, vibrant fruit and a lovely seductive sweet core.
It is, and we're talking about that seductive sweet core. There's an approachability and accessibility about that wine which I really like. It's got all those wonderful hallmarks, those characters, that lift, the aromatics, the texture, just all wrapped around together in a really lovely package.
Yeah. The only criticism might be it's a little one-dimensional.
A touch, but also, you know, this is where one of those things where you have a score, but then also the drinkability side of things.
Very high on drinkability.
Very high on drinkability, but not necessarily super high on score. But I mean, what, 88, 99?
88 points, 89 points, not 99 points, Dan. You'll start something if you go there.
No, definitely not 99 points.
Okay, now we'll move along. We're going to the East Coast. The East Coast is fascinating. Coombe Bend, you know, you'd think it'd be open to the elements, that everything would be really quite difficult there. But even just within the little areas of the East Coast, and Freycinet is a good example, there are different pockets where wines are made with different sort of characters. Now, the Coombe Bend vineyard makes wines of really deep, plush, luscious black fruits.
I mean, I'm looking at the colour right now, and straight away, it's a lot darker, a lot denser, a lot more concentration,
almost
and
looks
weight to it.
Like Syrah, like Shiraz.
Almost Syrah-like, but there's certainly that richness. And if you like your Pinot Noir with that sort of medium to fuller-bodied, you know, almost not fully charged necessarily, but you know, fleshy and certainly weightier. These sort of styles, you know, from the East Coast.
A lot of people have been getting very excited about this one too.
It is, and it's worthwhile because it's got that lovely concentration.
You know, today 92 points. It may get better over time. So you know, it's kind of one of those ones. It's a bit of a star. Watch your space kind of thing. I think it may actually get better. Now, Bream Creek.
Bream Creek, you know, we're heading down further south again, sort of into Coal River as we go. And here again, which is interesting. And one of the things, you know, when we went down there about being in Hope, was actually the lack of rainfall around sort of Hobart and also Coal River Valley. And I was actually really surprised. I mean, we were surprised by driving around how actually dry it was and dry it looks. And you know, this particular one, you're probably seeing, you know, further south, I tend to think of, you know, the cooler it gets, the lighter the style of Pinot Noir. But here we have, because of that sort of low rainfall, lots, you know,
it's very concentrated.
It's very concentrated and a fair bit of weight to this wine.
But lovely, fleshy, you know.
And again, a brightness to it.
Yeah, but a little on the hedonistic side, you know, lots of spice.
Yes.
And lots of those Asian spices. And so it's a kind of a different point. Today, 90 points sitting on this table. I think we originally gave it 16.25, and I reckon it's just gone up a bit. And so this is the thing about Pinot Unearthed, is that we're allowed to change our minds because the wines do change with time. We've got to wrap it up, but the underlying message to all of this today with Tasmania is that it's a fabulous place to go and explore Pinot Noir. There's all sorts of different styles. This is just
There's a lot happening down in Tasmania. And if you'd like to know more about the Tasmania report, also as well as the others from New Zealand and Mornington and the rest, check it out at pinotunearthed.com.
Indeed.
And we'll see you next week.